How's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and today I'll be going over my go-to run and gun Zane build called Zane Prime. This build is a variant of my generalistic run and gun Zane build called Violet Momentum, but also using stuff mainly from the Anarchist build, as well as tech from a lot of my other gun-specific builds. This is mainly focused on using Infiltrator to be able to use a Revolter, while also having Terranoids active for ammo regen, and also having AC Splash still available on my guns, making it feel super fun to not have to reload as much while still having super high damage. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The save file will be found in my Discord, which is linked down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and for the build here, we use pretty much any gun that can roll AC Splash and is a splash gun. Not everything I have is like the only stuff that can do that, but some of the good ones that I like to use. First off, we have the Herald, one of the strongest go-to pistols in the game for our normal gun build, so I use that. I use Corrosive mainly for most elements if it can roll Corrosive. I also like having Radiation for mobbing for good red explosions while aiming down sights for Arm and Flint with its double dipping dots. And then it's really good just for Malamon weapons since it can have two elements, getting a Corrosive and then Radiation one. And if you need a good shock damage, you can get shock damage rolls on here. Then I also have a Flipper, just really good and really nice with ammo regen since it has a charge up. It's pretty easy to get charged up, but it's just nice to have to keep going. And then I have a Trepanator here, just a fun shotgun and really nice with ammo regen since it can be pretty ammo heavy. And then I have a Sandog here, which is able to roll AC Splash, but just still really strong. And since I'm using Terror Anointments, I put Terror Damaging Fire Rate just because it's pretty nice and a fun splash weapon. And then some other guns I have here is the Roizen's Thorns, the Free Radical, the Beacon, the Kipsworth is really nice. Got the Plasma Coil, Anarchy, the Insider, the Backburner, Yellow Cake, Kick Charger, Plague Bear, and then I have another Corrosive Sandog here. Again, there are more weapons you can choose from. And then I have a Revolter here, just because Revolter is one of the best shields for gun stuff. So we have the Revolter here for the shock bonus element, and then also the fire rate because it's a pure mult. Ideally, you'd want to have fleet parts since we're using an Infiltrator, but the parts do not matter that much. Just any Revolter will work. Since we're not using action skill start, you can part farm, but maybe like 2 part pieces like of fleet parts. But other stuff that could work is like adaptive absorb if you enable these two. I'll go over this at the end, but we do this to keep our shield slow to have. Then you could also have like recharge parts as well to have your shield fill up. It just all matters how you play, but I like fleet because it has more violent momentum uptime. And then we have Terror ammo regen to have that Terror going. And then I have an It's Piss here. I don't think I have one, I don't, but you could also use like a Mesmer, just any good utility grenade with ASE applied Terror. I have a low level one just so if any bonus elements hit me, it can't deal big amounts of damage. Then we have the Infiltrator. This allows us to do what we want with the run and gun playstyle. We have the Violent Momentum points. You definitely want probably at least 3 Violent Momentum points. And then we have SMG damage, so just any weapon type damage, splash damage, and splash damage radius. Just splash radius is really good for AoE clear. Since we have ASC splash damage here isn't as important, but still very, very good. And the weapon type damage is still really good. You could get some sorts of crit damage, but since this is more AoE focused, don't have to worry about that as much. I do still try and crit, having Eraser here and Arm and Flint for the dots with red explosions, but not as needed to crit. And then I have a Malamon Company Man here. Just any Company Man is really good to have. It's got mag size to help with ammo regen, but it's also got fire rate and crit damage. You can also roll normal gun damage, which is really nice for Fight for Your Life. Yeah, I like having fire rate here still. This isn't a never reload build, as reloading is still nice. and usable, and if you go never reload, you're giving up too much damage. That's what you mainly want to look out for. And then mag size and area of effect damage. Then you can go elemental damage, movement speed, or active skill cooldown rate. Since I'm using Infiltrator, I like to have active skill cooldown rate since I don't have topped off active for its 200% cooldown when shields are up. So just having extra cooldown is really nice quality of life. And then you could use like a snowdrift or toboggan when bossing, or an icebreaker for just generalist stuff. You probably want to use a cryo weapon since you don't go the green tree here. And then for the skill tree, we'll start off with blue tree. We have violent momentum, of course, as that is the big focus of this build, with violent speed to boost violent momentum. And then we have salvation here. You only need 1 point and you'll be able to stay alive fine as long as you are shooting an enemy. And we have drone delivery, since drone will be our main use here. We have that going and throwing around its fist or mesmer, whatever you want, just to help with our damage. Then we have cool hand here for the reload speed. We still are reloading, so reload speed is still very useful. Seeing red is used to activate our kill skills via Mantis. And then we go violent violence for more fire rate. I only go 1 point in playing dirty since a lot of guns I use are multi-pellet, and it's very hard to have good uptime on playing dirty with fast firing weapons. But it's very nice for bossing to have up, since if you use like launchers, they are low pellet here. You'll see this is ×2, ×1, ×1, ×1. So it's all very good for bossing to have there. So that's why I have a point here. We only need 1 point in good misfortune while using Sentinel. I like using 2 or 3 points with barrier, but since we're not using barrier here, it doesn't really matter. And then I have Death Follows Close here for boosting our kill skills, which will also boost violent momentum, just because it's weird and counts as a kill skill. And then we go red tree. Our main thing to go is for Supersonic Man for more movement speed for violent momentum. We go by Mutinous for more mag size, Borrowed Time for more action skill duration, Donnybrook for some nice consistent gun damage, but it's mainly for the health regen. Having some health regen is always nice in Zane builds just for passive regain, especially for dots. Then we have Facto Fags, mainly for the splash immunity, but also occasionally throwing a gun or throwing a grenade. But we have the extra point there just because it's mainly a drop point. If you wanted to use clone for like aggro draw and throwing grenades, you could move 1 point here, as well as another point like in Borrowed Time to Quick Breather, and then 1 point in Supersonic Man to hold you. But normally when I use clone for aggro draw, I like to get Boom Enhanced, which would mean I'd probably be giving up some Purple Tree, which I don't feel like doing in this build. So that's why I have it how it is and using drone. And then we go no green tree, just because nothing is beneficial here that I could have skill points that I could give up. So I go over to purple tree. We go mana focus for accuracy and handling. We're going to be running around a lot, so this is very important to where we definitely want to make sure we are keeping up our accuracy to be able to hit enemies more correctly, especially with crits. With area effect stuff, it matters less. We have commitment mainly for the cooldown rate, but again, the gun damage being consistent is nice, but not very impactful, especially on this build. Then we have crit damage for when we do crit. Fugitive to sprint and shoot, which just means better uptime on violent momentum. Domino effect for the fire rate and reload speed. Eraser for piercing shots, which is very nice, especially when you shoot from above and then like you crit an enemy and then the projectile behind it is splash and then hits the enemy again. So that's super fun to have with Eraser. Then I just have 1 point in sheer will for some nice cooldown, which will affect Sentinel, but the sacking cooldown will not affect Mantis Cannon. You could also throw this like in tunnel vision for better accuracy and handling if you want. And then I go Arm and Flint for the bonus B2 damage. This is additive with weapon type damage like SMG damage here, and then also will apply dots for good explosions when we have our guns to the radiation element. And then for Mantis here, I just go colder shoulder just because, but the main thing here is proliferation for the additional charges. You could go no way out here, but I don't like it here for this build because one, it increases cooldown in a build where we don't have a lot of cooldown. since we're giving up topped off. And then it also pulls enemy towards you, and when using area of effect weapons, it doesn't usually end up going well. So I'd like to not use melee out here. And then the main reason I use drone here is for bad dose. You gain more movement speed and fire rate for every weakened enemy that drone applies. So that is just very nice. And then Boomstick here is just for some extra damage. I don't think I have a Guardian Angel, but you could throw on a Guardian Angel and have Terror damage fire rate or Terror cryo. And then if you go in a fight for your life, you can swap over to it and drone will deal damage. But the main reason I have this is because I don't want static field, as that'll recharge my shield. Now, if you don't care about fleet parts, then you could throw this over here and then just have a good fight for your life weapon, which all these are pretty good, especially Sandhawk. But I also like having a free radical as a good fight for your life weapon. You'd want like consecutive hits or VRAD on it though, or Terror cryo, Terror damage fire rate, honestly, since we're using Terror here. But yeah, that's the main reason why I go Boomstay. And then also, since we're using AC Splash and some splash stuff, it'll boost Boomstay, so it may kill some lower tier enemies as well, which is nice. And then just going over shield reboot and emergency response again, we have that going on to stop our shield from recharging as much, so we can have maximum uptime on Revolter. Now with Mayhem modifiers, I don't have anything going off right now, but the main thing that could help is Speed Demon, especially if you have worse gear right now and you want to work on this build. It'll just give you more movement speed, but then you got to work with stuff like Post-Mortem, which is the ideal thing I'd use on this build, which isn't the worst thing. I do play around it on some builds, especially no DLC builds, but then there's just some others modifiers you can use. Again, don't use these ones because that's not the reason I don't use Mayhem modifiers on here, but it is an option. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. I would relate this video to my Cooker Cryo Zane, where it's very similar to a regular gun build, but it's just a little spicier and more me. Even though Zane has fast reload speed, some guns are just really nice to not reload as much. Again, you can find the save file in my Discord, which is linked down below, as well as my other socials. If you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.